When the flaws in the laws set to protect us all are revealed, there's only two options: stay broken or begin to heal.
Ohioans should speak out for change.
Hey, back to where we started when this first started 4 weeks ago.
And we know healing can be just as hard as being broken. Just ask Breonna Taylor's mother, who continues to fight with wounds still wide open.
I knew she was destined for greatness. She's showing it.
But healing isn't just a trendy hashtag with blue likes and red hearts. It's actions leading to real change. Yes, removing statues is a start. Are you ready for your part? Are you ready to have the real conversations? The ones that will make you uncomfortable and accountable, but perhaps change this nation?
Good evening and welcome to The Conversation. I'm Kerry Charles.
And I'm Matt Barnes. It's been 1 month since our last conversation about racial inequality, and tonight it continues as we hear more perspectives from members of our community.
Before we hear from some of our neighbors, we want to take a second to recognize a couple of community partners who are turning up the volume on The Conversation. Radio 1 and Bounce TV are making sure people can hear what is being said tonight.
Yeah, Radio 1 has been helping to spread the word about The Conversation, and tonight our friends at Bounce TV are airing a simulcast of this program, so thank you to them.
Sure. NBC4 anchor Darlene Hill joins us now. She's live at the King Arts Complex with a group of dynamic women, and they will kick off the conversation. Darlene.
Yeah, I know, Matt and Kerry, you guys have spent a lot of time over here at the King Arts Complex. It's located in Brownsville, and it's loaded with so much history, so many fabulous pieces of art and artifacts. It's the kind of place where on a Saturday, any day actually, on a Saturday you could come and spend all day. But tonight, it's all about the night. I'm joined, as you said, with some fabulous women here, part of the Divine Nine, the sorority sisters. They're joining me here at the King Arts Complex because we're getting ready to have a real conversation, a raw conversation. And full disclosure here, I'm going to start by introducing these women, and I'm going to start with one of my sorors.
Hi, I'm Karen Carey, Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, Alpha Sigma Omega Chapter.
Niele Juris, Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, Columbus, Ohio, Columbus Alumni Chapter.
Hello, Charity Martin King, Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated, Gamma Zeta Zeta Chapter, Columbus, Ohio.
Tracy Johnson, Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority Incorporated, Iota Nu Sigma Alumni Chapter.
All right, so you just met my fabulous women. So I'm going to go around and I'm going to talk to Charity and I'm going to talk to Tracy. Lena Horne once said that it's not the load that you are carrying that can break you down. It's just how you're walking with it, how you're sitting with it. What do you say about what's going on, Tracy? I'm going to start with you about what's going on in the world right now. There's a lot of rage, there's a lot of anger, and there's also a lot of hope. Are you sensing the same things out there? What are you feeling day to day?
You know, I'm having mixed emotions about what's happening right now. There's a lot of conversations happening. There's a lot of anger. There's a lot of movement happening. But is it the right kind of movement? We're doing a lot of talking, but what are we really going to do? That concerns me right now. You know, what's different about right now is that we watched for over 8 minutes. We watched a man die. We watched him call out for his mother. And that is why so many people are engaged right now. And that is why so many people are enraged.
And do you think, Charity, that is why we're seeing so many people involved in this movement? And we were starting to finally notice the change. People and corporations are not just talking the talk, they're walking it.
Well, it depends on, I think, who you talk to. On one sense, because we can't forget where we come from. Because what we have witnessed is our modern day immaterial, is this situation. And so it's not as if anything is new under the sun, but on one hand there is a sense of hope, and then on the other there's a pessimism of is what the corporations and the symbols of tearing down statues and everything else, is that really enough? So on one hand there's a hope from a younger generation, quite possibly, but then there is also a pessimistic undertone as well to say, are we really moving the needle?
We're leaders. Women are known to be leaders in the community, especially in the Black community. We just get things done because sometimes we have to. It's not something that you're given a chance to think about doing it. You just jump in and do. What role, how are you leading your household, your community, your church? What are you doing? Where do you see us?
Well, the first thing that I want to make sure that I'm doing is being present. is being present. We came off of COVID-19. There's so many other issues that we're facing. We have over 50% of African American families who lost their jobs during this pandemic, and so it's so easy to possibly disconnect. But for me, I want to first of all be present. Second of all, for me as a woman of color, a black woman, it is important for me to also lean back on the historical perspectives of whether it is Merle, when she had to lay there and see her son in the casket, the mothers who have been called, Angela Davis, Nikki Giovanni, there are so many women that led, whether it was Black Panther Party with Elaine Brown. I want to first be present and then learn from the history to know what to do next.
Before I run out of time, I want to get Tracy right here. We were listening to Charity. She just said a woman of color. Then she said black women, a black woman. You're hearing more people say black and not people of color. Because when you talk about people of color, you're talking about Asians, you're talking about Native Americans, you're talking about Latino. People are saying black now and not ashamed of it.
And they should not be ashamed of it. For so many years, we have been taught to assimilate, to cover up who we are, the essence of who we are, from our hair, to our style, to our colorful way of dressing, to even the way that we speak. And now we're saying, time out for that. It's time for us to be proud. It's time for us to stand up and lift our voice and be heard.
All right, you just heard Charity and Tracy. We're going to hear from the other two ladies in just a couple of minutes. But as James Brown would say, and as Tracy just said, say it loud. They're black and they're proud. Back to you guys.
One day, you know, this Black Lives Matter thing won't be as trendy as it is right now. And you got to continue to fight. You got to continue to hold these politicians and activists and everybody out here that's standing for things and saying they're standing for things. You got to hold them accountable.
The essence of this idea is to appreciate the immense value of helpful kindness in all dealings with our fellow humans.
You know, we spent a lot of time hearing from people about what it's like to be a minority in today's America. But what about being a minority police officer right now? You're about to find out.
I came into this profession pretty late. Well, I was 42 when I got hired. Through my business, Franklin County deputies, I work closely with them, and a lot of those deputies are like, hey, you'd be a good police officer.
My dad became a police officer in the 60s. Being from the east side of Detroit, I felt like I wanted to make a difference. A lot of the friends that I grew up with, they're in prison, they're dead. So I always looked at policing as a positive enforcement. After it's all said and done, if I can just make one difference in somebody's life, that's all I want to be able to do.
I'm in a really unique position because I may be the only convicted felon who became a police officer, and through an interaction during one of the felony arrests as a juvenile, that's kind of what started changing my life around. And as a result of that, I just knew that I wanted to come do for some other troubled youth what that officer was able to do for me.
I was in banking for 15.5 years, and we had a special duty officer who would come in and he would speak to me, hey, we need people like you to come in, people that know how to connect to people, and the next thing I know, I'm in the academy running.
I just wonder a couple things. First off, have you ever experienced racism, discrimination in your job as a police officer? And two, would you feel comfortable calling it out an officer who may have done something or said something racist to a member of the community or to a fellow officer?
Absolutely. I have no problem at all expressing if you've done something wrong. I mean, at the end of the day, we're all people. We really are. Everybody's asking to be treated with respect, the same respect that I would expect you to treat my mom or my dad when you went on that run. That's the same stuff that I would expect to be across the board.
Once again, we talk about the elephant that's in the room. You know, racism does exist. The only way to combat racism to me is basically to tell the truth and to educate. Because I told a friend of mine the other day, trust is lost in buckets, right? But it's also gained in drops. So right now, because of what happened, we've lost the trust of a lot of people.
And for all the people who may think that we're not about the right things, who may think like that they could do a better job. I'm imploring them to apply, come be the police officers, come do something about it, be that change you want to see, especially here in our city.
Yes, it's important to sign up and to try and become a police officer because it's not an easy process. But come and do a ride-along. We're always open because I would love to have you in my car for 8 hours to see everything that we go through with everything that's going on today. We are worked harder and harder. Every officer out there is exhausted. There's a lot of chaos. You know, we go from waving to people to dealing with people that are in severe crisis. And it's just a balancing act, and you know, we have to go home. We have to deal with our personal decompression. We have to deal with our families. My son doesn't sleep until I come home.
I do felony paperwork on pedophiles. So that's hard enough. That's hard enough that someone's out there hurting a child, and I'm trying to get this person off the street because they're not just going to hurt this one, but they're going to go into the next one. But when I'm out at Broad High and I'm having bricks tossed at me in riot gear on a hot day that I almost feel like I'm going to pass out, you know what? I think in my mind, you know what, Lisa, you're out here for the people, the good people. You know, your mom's at home, your brother's at home. Our families are safe at home or they're at work. But I'm out here taking all this because I know there are good people out there, and I know people care about us. But it does have a lot on your, I mean, it really does. I'm 57 and I don't sleep. I hardly sleep. I'm talking probably average 4 hours a day. I mean, and I know other people they're deprived of it. And like Chung and Levon said, we're overworked. I mean, you know, I've got people calling me on the phone wanting to know where special duty's at, and I'm like, are you not watching the news?
Right.
Are you not watching the news?
Right.
You know what? You come out here, you stand in the riot gear, you let people call you everything and still not be able to respond. You know, I don't get it.
I also want to put out there to the younger members in the community, don't be a follower, you know, be a leader. Don't follow everyone else. You know, it's one thing to get out here and scream at the top of your lungs to us, which we all know, but Black Lives Matter, we get it. But why don't those Black Lives Matter when it happens in the hood? You know, why will you sit there and scream at us Black Lives Matter, but then when we come to you for info after you witnessed a black life take another black life, you won't say anything about it? Like, it's really upsetting. And again, having that unique perspective, making it from the back of a cruiser to the front of one, I have a different perspective, a kind of a 360 view on how we're just kind of lied to in the inner city. We're lied to, you know, we're kind of held down here by people pointing the finger at other people. You know, the people holding us down here are the ones pointing the finger and making it seem like it's the person over there's fault, you know, and it's just, that's not the case.
I think a lot of my colleagues agree that in order to curb crime and all this violence that involve all these teenagers and youth is to give them opportunities to have more interaction with us. Be the parent that they may or may not actually have, or, you know, teach them, put them in the right direction that says this is the wrong path, this is the right path, and kind of be that parent figure for them. And yes, they have to still go home to who are their parents or the people that are raising them, but at the same time, you give them to start turning that, you know, that wheel and saying, okay, this is fun, this is cool.
From your perspective, is it harder to be a police officer now than maybe when it was when, you know, your dad was doing it in the, you know, the 60s?
So it's almost like a parallel. I kind of feel some of the rhetoric, the insults, the ridicule that my dad felt, you know, back in the 60s. So, but 23 years ago, when I became a police officer, no, it was a good thing to be the police at that time. But now, it's resurfaced that we still have issues between us and the community. We, as blacks, we're the only culture that it's not a good thing to be the police. And I don't understand why. Because I don't know about you, but some people that are raised in the inner city and then they call the police, I think that they would be more than happy just to see someone that maybe looked like them or maybe have some type of background if they were raised in the inner city. And I think that that's a good thing, but somehow, some way we've gotten away from that as a black community. And I'm kind of like really concerned about that, because I get it. Why are you a police officer? You're black. Okay, so is the police department supposed to be all white? Exactly. Really? So that being said, it is hard, because I've heard it, but I'm not scared of the police, or, you know, you black and you the police? Why are you the police? You're Uncle Tom, you're a sellout, you're this, you're that.
You guys all know, we get people that come up to us and say thank you for your service, but those aren't the people that we're hearing from. We're not hearing it out there with the community or with the leaders. You know, these are people that should go out and encourage, hey, I've never had a problem with an officer, or yeah, I had a problem with an officer, I talked about it, but the majority of Columbus, I think, are pro-police.
Our leadership is talking about reform. The city council wants reform. The mayor wants reform. You know, we do community policing. We're out there every day, and that's our normal routine. So talking about reform, and we need to do more to interact with our citizens. We actually already do it. They just don't see it.
What people need to know about police officers in every city, but especially here in the city of Columbus, is we are the good guys. We're not the bad guys. We're the good guys. We're always going to be the good guys. We are here to help the same people who are throwing bricks at us and vandalizing and looting. When they need us, we don't care what color they are. We don't care what creed they are. We don't care what sexual preference they have. We come. All right. So when they call us, we come running.
As long as there's a good person, as long as there's a bad person, there's always going to be a need for justice. God is a person of justice. He has delegated us, he has called us to this profession to embrace the field of being justice peacekeepers. So we are the justice. We are the ones that's woke in the middle of the night. We are the ones that go into calls for service when bullets are coming at us and people are running away. We're running to the threat. We are the ones that pick up that woman after she's been raped. We're the ones that take care of that child after that child has been molested. We're that ones that pick up the gangbanger and embrace the gangbanger and say, well, hey, we got to be able to understand the police department. You don't understand. I've been in your shoes before. We're the ones that do that. We're the ones that, hey, if a person is in need and they need furniture, clothes, they need transportation, we're there. But at the end of the day, we do this out of the kindness of our heart because we're good people. And we just so happen to be police officers. So we're good people that just so happen to be the police.
Very candid conversation. Black Lives Matter billboards like these have gone up in Upper Arlington. Yard signs, some which have been stolen, are part of a campaign led by a group called Equal UA. It formed after some neighbors spoke up about several racist incidents. Census estimates show Upper Arlington is 91.5% white. Tonight we learn more about Equal UA and an incident that fueled one man's involvement. Full disclosure, that man is the husband of NBC4's Jennifer Bullock.
Equal UA believes strongly that diversity is a strength within our community, and it should be celebrated and acknowledged throughout. Our mission is to promote the idea of inclusivity and an equitable culture.
They cared about me as a person. They cared about my story.
From 2016 to 2019, Gerald Moore and his family lived in Upper Arlington.
So I was just walking my son, as we do normally,
near Tremont and North Star Roads.
As we pass down here, I just hear somebody yell nigger out loud. Had no idea where it really came from.
Or why, but Moore grew concerned. His son, just a year old.
It was a personal attack. One, because I lived in this community. I paid my bills to live in this community. I was a coach at the school.
The incident led him to Equal UA, becoming one of its founding board members. The group pushes diversity, community chats, partners with schools. Events like Human Connections allow citizens to tell their stories, express their feelings.
I can't really, live and just be, right? I'm constantly cautious and aware of my surroundings. You're constantly feeling kind of on edge.
And challenge themselves to make Upper Arlington inclusive for all.
So there's a lot of different organizations working towards our shared goals through different avenues and different ways.
A lot of this is very just surface. but starting the conversations that are very uncomfortable, along with the broader picture of what's going on in society, I think that kind of eases that transition because everybody sees it whether you want to or not.
It's true. Moore and his family live in another community. He recently stepped down from the Equal UA board after several people complained about a social media post. They called it anti-Semitic. He believes the post was twisted and used against him, but apologized and said the experience has been a teachable moment. You can learn more about the organization by visiting equalupperarlington.com. Very interesting.
Incredibly interesting. And we do want to mention that after much discussion inside our newsroom, we did decide to use the N-word tonight without disclaimer and without censoring it because it's how Moore and many others are confronted with that word. It is that jarring when they hear it.
Yep.
Well, turning now from Upper Arlington to Bexley. It's not always easy being a young black student in a predominantly white suburb.
And in Bexley, those young voices are doing their part to affect change in their community. It's called the Bexley Anti-Racism Project, and it is led by current Bexley students and recent graduates. Joining us via Skype tonight are two of the leaders of that group, Austin Smith and Kaya Woodford. I want to hop right into this. Kaya, tell me, how did this project come to be?
This project, I would say, was an effort that wasn't really spontaneous or sporadic. It was more cumulative in response to not only happenings throughout my entire experience throughout this Bexley City School District. I am a product of the system. I went to the Jewish Community Center for preschool and graduated from Bexley 2019. But in regard to the mobilization of the project itself, it came in response to activism I demonstrated at the protest downtown is what sparked the video, and then suddenly there's a buzz around the community and people are interested in what's going on. And a couple Bexley High School alum that graduated before I did reached out and said, hey, we want to do something. And the members who reached out actually started the Social Justice Club at Bexley as well. So that spirit of activism has always been there. It just manifested itself in response to the current political landscape as we see it now. And so we joined together and we started the project, Bexley Anti-Racism Project, BARB, right? And since then, we just hit the ground running. Our first event was June 6th, right? And Austin spoke at that event along with other student community speakers. Mayor Kessler spoke, and we all marched to the State House, and it was just incredibly successful, unprecedentedly so. And from there, we've kept the momentum going, and we hope to do so even with the introduction of our high school branch as well. That's headed by Jaden Lumpkin. She's going to be a senior in the high school as well. So stay posted for updates on that.
Also, I want to bring you in. I've been so impressed when I go to your guys' Facebook page and I go to your website, how honest you all have been. I want to know just from you, what is it like to be black in Bexley?
That's a loaded question.
Yeah. I mean, for starters, in all of the honors and the AP courses, it means looking around and being surrounded in a sea of white. There are few, if any, other people of color in my classes specifically, and Kaya would agree as well. But in addition to that, it means going through the day and being affected by microaggressions by friends and by even teachers in some instances, but also learning about a history that has been whitewashed and doesn't include as much African-American influence as it needs to. And it's really just being surrounded by people that don't look like you and that don't allow you to be you. So you're forced to be someone that you aren't.
Absolutely, and to that point,
you all are doing some awesome work. We're gonna steal away from you just a bit. We want you to hang tight because we are gonna come back to you. Isn't it awesome to see these young people?
Young people leading the way. We will see you guys in just a bit. Stay with us.
That's right. Still to come, we bring together NBC4 journalists for a discussion about our experiences with racism and intolerance.
The fabric of injustice is woven into every major institution in America, and it affects African Americans at an alarming rate. And that's the education, judicial, government, economic, healthcare, employment, and recently, the religious system.
In 1938, my mom couldn't take her friend to a soda shop because they wouldn't serve her. She was black. My children growing up had black friends, and when we lived in the country, I had to defend my daughter's friends to my neighbors. Let's stop racism this generation.
Welcome back to The Conversation. You know, every day the journalists here at NBC4 bring you the news that keeps you informed on what is happening in your community. But we're also members of the community who have our own experiences of how racism has affected our lives.
Yeah, so we gathered 7 NBC4 journalists for an honest and open discussion. What have you faced as a black journalist? What's the thing that stands out, or just as a black woman?
A lot of people are having the uncomfortable conversations. Yeah. One of the experiences I remember the most was right over there at Ohio State University at the J School. My professor, my junior year, was talking about getting that first job as a reporter, and he was really building and pumping up the white girls with blonde hair. And when I said, I want to be a reporter too, and he said, radio? Oh. Really? It cut like a knife, and I still probably have that wound on my arm somewhere, but I will never ever forget that. And when I got back after 25 years in Chicago, winning all kinds of awards, and then got back to Columbus, I wanted to go over to the university, over to that J School and say, hi, how you like me now? Yeah. But people say things that they don't know how deep that cuts.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would have to say that the one thing, and of course I'm coming as the senior member of this team right now.
Now, have we said that?
No. But I will say this feels different. I'm one of the people who can remember the Chicago riots at the Democratic Convention. I wasn't a kid, but I still remember being fascinated by those protests and the nation's reaction to it. I remember women marching for rights. I remember people in, African Americans, especially in the Deep South, protesting, trying to just protect their right not only to vote, but to be. This feels different because it feels as if it's a different generation. It feels as if more people are collectively involved. It's not one group that's looking to promote their rights. It is a nation looking to examine what have we done that brought us to this point.
And I think that's a great point, because like you said, it's a different generation. So for me, a lot of it before was history. I was looking back into history, civil rights movements, the riots that, I was reading in history books or seeing in documentaries, but now I'm living it as a journalist, and it does feel very different because there are a lot of stories that we cover that you don't become numb to, but you get used to hearing about, homicides and crimes, and it becomes the norm. This is not normal. This is not something that I've experienced or stories that I've had to tell before. And living it as a woman of color, I've got a black husband, my children are black. So not only am I a journalist, but I'm living it as a human. And so it's trying to separate, making sure that I give those facts, but also dealing with the emotions of everything that's going on right now.
Jen, talk about the fact that there's COVID-19, we're in a pandemic. There is just waking up being a black woman. Yeah. And then there's the pressure of the mental health aspect, and how do you grapple that?
Well, that's a lot, and actually we as a morning team, we dealt with that a few weeks ago. Monica left in tears during a commercial break. Matt had a moment where he struggled to even get out of his car just to come into work. I went home every day for a week crying just so my kids wouldn't see me emotional at home, because it weighs on us. And I think, our job is to deliver the facts and to tell the stories of people in our community, but we're still dealing with it. We're still humans. We're not robots. And so it's trying to make sure that we present the story in the best way possible, but we also put a smile on your face, because that's our job too. But behind our smile, we're dealing with a lot. Yeah.
And I imagine, Matt, it would be difficult to not let your own personal feelings, and people call it a bias, I call it perspective. Yeah. Right. It's difficult to not let that influence the way we do our job.
Oh, absolutely. And that's the thing. That's what was killing me, was not to do that. But at the same time, I think that's part of our job. That's part of our platform, is to speak to experience, speak to my experience as a young black male in Columbus, and what I've seen, and that's why I think made it so tough, watching what was happening with the protests that turned into looting, then turning to some of my friends who, and this is the thing that drove me nuts, it turned from my friends saying, "Are you okay?" to what do you think of the looting?
Yeah.
I said, oh, so now you don't care about me anymore. You told my opinion on the looting.
Yeah.
Drove me nuts.
And it was your friend. In some cases, it was people that you knew. It was their stores that had worked and had built these stores up, and that were then being damaged.
Yeah.
So it was like it was a lot of emotional conflict, especially in that first week.
Yeah, there wasn't. It felt like there wasn't a lot of hope for a little bit.
It did.
It was tough.
Yeah.
Because you saw people biting back and forth at each other. You didn't know when this was going to end, and yeah, it hurt. It truly, truly hurt. And then having to come on air, sleep deprived as we are on the morning show.
Yeah.
Anyway,
and try to hold a brave face and act like it's not affecting you. Oh, it affects you.
There was no time to breathe, it felt like, because, you know, we're here for 8 to 9 to 10 hours a day. But then when you go home, you're still always connected.
Yep.
You're still seeing what's going on. You're reading stories online. You're watching your coworkers on the news, and you're taking things in on social media. There was no time to just catch a breath.
Well, it's just like you said, you have to check out. Mentally, you have to check out, because people do expect you, as the black person in the room sometimes, the only one, they expect you to be the expert on this. And while we try to, like Jen keeps saying, we want to give you the facts, the reality is we are still African Americans in this. We're still black in this. And we try not to share our perspective so many times, because we don't want to be looked at on television as angry black men, angry black women. No, but we still have a voice.
Yeah, we have to button up in a certain way.
Absolutely.
I had a job where when I started on air, I had a goatee, and I had a manager tell my news director I needed to shave because my goatee was, it appeared to be gangster. And there was a white male on the same morning show that I anchored with a full beard, but his was friendly. And it's those things that we combat continuously.
Gangster on you, but friendly on him.
Yeah. How many times have we seen, a company, come up with a shirt that is offensive to black people? You're like, how did that get passed by anybody?
Yeah.
Well, it's because there's no one
and
involved.
it's
because there's no diversity.
There's no one
at the
involved.
table.
Yeah, you have. I mean,
And having that
no one's gonna
chair
call them
at
out.
that table, that seat at that table,
It matters.
It matters.
Yeah.
I mean, it's about people who say, I had no idea that what I was taught to be normal was so offensive. And I feel like I've heard that a lot lately, and it's nice to finally hear people say, it kind of opened my eyes, because there have been a lot of moments, whether I was going through school or from bosses in the past, that they said things that to me, I was like, do you know what you really just said? Like, I was told, you'll appeal to a lot of people. I said, oh, thinking I'm good at my job. It's because people can't tell what you are.
Wow.
And I was like, oh, okay. And I let it go, but that stuck with me.
It stays
That
with you.
bothered me
Right.
because, I can appeal to white people because, I'm light enough. I can appeal to black people because I look good enough and I speak well. But it's, why is that a standard? Why is that okay?
We've talked about this a little bit. What drives me nuts is, I went to a predominantly white high school, and, I was one of, I only knew 2 people when I walked into the school. My sister was a senior. She didn't want to talk to me, obviously. But, yeah, exactly right.
For many reasons.
Barely.
But you walk in and you want to immediately be liked and loved or whatever. And so you end up doing things and kind of conforming to things you wouldn't.
To fit in.
To absolutely fit in. And, I got told so many times, oh, you're the whitest black guy I know.
Yep.
Wow, that didn't.
You talk white.
But then, yeah, exactly.
Yes, you talk white. You hear that all the time.
And at the time, you just, oh, yeah, laugh it off because you're trying to stay friends. 5 years later, not cool.
Yeah.
Because you kind of wake up to what they're doing, these microaggressions they give you. You can call it an Oreo.
Very passive aggressive.
It's real passive aggressive.
Yeah.
And it got really annoying. And it stuck with me. I think got to college, and again, OU is
Yeah.
Those are
You
just
always
the-
get, I always
just
get,
the
what are
subtle
you?
things.
Yeah, it's subtle. Yeah, but
subtle things that are said, because when you were told you sound white, now when a white person describes you and says, oh, he speaks so well, that's that is offensive
if I
right
hear the
there.
word well-spoken,
I mean,
you
that
know
is the
exactly
worst
what I'm talking
way
about, a
I
black
think
person.
that white people can describe black people. She speaks so well.
Or she's got good hair.
Yeah. What does that mean?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
She got good hair.
Hey, now, I just told her I like her hair. so you're the problem. I just told her that's my favorite cut.
One thing I want to talk about, because I don't want us to run out of time and we don't hit this issue, is profiling and or what we come to the table with. And I'm going to ask my black colleagues first to chime in, and then if you all share stories as well, because it matters not your degree, your position, where you went to school. When you are seen in public by someone who does not recognize you, they don't know you are the 4 and 5 o'clock anchor at NBC4, there's a judgment that goes to it, and you get treated like fill in the blank. Tell me about an experience.
I'm going to have Matt go first.
Oh, nice. Okay.
I am. I'm going to do that.
No, that's fair.
That's.
You know, in high school, I knew I got pulled over in Bexley driving 26 into 25. I mean, come on.
Wow.
Yeah.
That didn't feel right. I remember going to visit a friend of mine who worked at the Abercrombie & Fitch in Easton and getting followed there. And I mean, I'm visiting white friends. It was weird. It's like, what's happening?
Yeah.
And I don't know why. You know, for some reason, it took me a while to catch on to it because I was just kind of lost in my own fantasy world. Hakuna Matata, that's my motto for life. And you know, and then when I got to college, same thing. I think everyone just assumed they knew how I was going to talk, how I was going to think, what music I liked, how I was going to dress. And I hate that. I hate just being put into a box like that, you know. But that's all just judgment. It's straight judgment, just simply for how I look.
I remember being in the 3rd grade, and my dad we were trying to learn how to swim, me, my 3 siblings, and my mom took us to the pool, the public pool there, and when we all got in the pool for the lesson, all the white kids got out of the pool. I was in the 3rd grade. I remember that. I remember just last weekend, I was out at Easton Mall, and maybe this is just me, maybe this is just how an older black woman thinks, but I get this all the time. White women will come by if I've got things in my hand that I'm going to try on. Love, where is the fitting room? And what time do you guys close? I'm buying too. You know, I mean, and this just happened just Sunday. Just Sunday. Or how many times, because I have a nice vehicle, I get pulled over.
Yeah.
And when my son visits me here in Columbus, my son is 23 years old, when he comes and he's driving my car, the prayer that I have over my children is so much different than the prayer that they cover their children with every single day. I just want them to make it home.
Yeah.
And I will be glad when our kids, or when we as a society get to the point where the conversations that we have with our kids about growing up is the same.
Yeah, I feel the same way, especially I've been with my husband 11 years total, and just every experience that I've seen him have to endure. I've been in the passenger seat when he gets pulled over, and he gets out of a ticket because he was a football player and he's wearing a bull ring, you know, so, oh, okay, well, he's a star athlete, then that's okay. Like, you know, you're free to go. But same thing, my children, my heart is for my kids because I don't want them to have to experience that. And then for me, it was always, because I was light skinned, well, what are you? And it's, you know, like,
and that's so hurtful.
It's so hurtful because, like, why do I have to be anything specific? Why do I have to check one box?
You start thinking about the James Brown song. Say it loud. I'm black and I'm proud.
Exactly. And, like, you know, I'm proud of my heritage. I'm white, I'm black, I'm Native American, I've got German and Irish. Like, I'm all mixed up.
I knew I liked you.
Yes.
As soon as you threw that Irish in
Exactly. We share the same blood. Like, so, you know, that for me, it was always, because I went to a predominantly white school, I really had nothing but white classmates. So every February, when we had to talk about Black history, you would just feel eyes on you. And I'm like, I don't know these people either. Like, I'm learning with you.
I remember also getting pulled over in Linden, and I was working at another station in town at the time as a producer, and I was producing Hutu and Black Columbus. I had just interviewed the day before the only black police commander. I had, who said, if you ever have any problems, give me a call. Wow. And these guys, officers, there was an older officer and a younger officer. I had to make an ally with the younger officer. They both were white because the younger officer was written on his face that something was wrong. That the older guy, he ran my license, couldn't find anything. He asked to check the car. I happened to be driving my mother's car that day. I said, sure, go ahead. Colleen, when I told her, you know, you don't ever do that.
But you do not have to have somebody
as
a black male
you
try
don't
to
have
say no.
You don't have the opportunity.
It's not even an opportunity.
But when he asked me to step out of the car, he started to take my hands and put them in handcuffs. And I said, no, I just cannot go down that. If my neighbors are going to come out, this is going to be embarrassing. And the younger guy, he said, I got him, he's okay. And as the older guy kept searching the car, he looked and he looked. And at one point, he looked back and the younger officer went. And I had already laid out to him that, you know, I know this person, I've done this, I have to work with you all, what is this about? This is when CNN was premiering Black in America, and I said, these are the things, this is why we have to have these conversations, and had it not been for that younger guy, I don't know
where things would have things would have ended.
I love even how when Kerry was sharing his experience about being pulled over and the officer telling him, you know, get out of the car or we're going to search your car. And the first thing you said was, you know, that is against the law.
Yeah.
We don't have any laws. Yeah. When we get pulled over out on the streets, the best thing one of my attorney friends said to me was, let them do whatever they want to do, because you want to be able, you want to be able to get home and you want to be able to tell your story.
And that's the conversation, that's the talk that black families have all of the time that people just can't relate to.
I was outraged for him. And so I'm wondering, have your fathers had the conversation we hear about that black families have with young black men?
My son was probably 5 when I started telling him.
Oh, wow.
But
I don't know if there was a single talk, but every time an instance came up, it was of the reminder.
Yeah, it's an ongoing conversation.
It was one of those, you watching this? One of those kind of deals every
Keep
time.
your hands on the wheel, look forward, yes, sir.
And it's so bad.
And call me as soon as it's over with.
And it's so bad right now. I think PG&E, they're out of Cincinnati, based out of Cincinnati. They've got ads, commercials about what black mothers and what parents are telling their young boys and girls. Don't go out with a hoodie. Don't touch anything in the store that you're not going to pay for. Don't do this, don't do that. It's a list of about 30 things that we do. And that it's an ongoing conversation. Things that we have to tell our children, you would never think about telling your son.
As a black, queer, woman-presenting individual in these times, I've noticed issues and conversations that have been difficult. I've had a lot of them, more so than I normally have, and I actually work in diversity management facilitation. I realize I'm exhausted quicker. I realize it's more difficult to keep my peace and be easygoing and not be offended.
I think it's important for us black people to examine ourselves. I think self-love and self-guard, it's a conversation that we need to have amongst ourselves.
Darlene Hill again, live tonight at the King Arts Complex. I'm talking to a woman from the Delta Sigma Theta sorority, as well as the Alpha Kappa Alpha, Sigma Gamma Rho, and of course the Zetas. And I want to let you guys know that they're not official spokesmen out here, spokeswomen out here. They're just out here as members of the community. And we were just talking about how personal this has become. And Karen, let me ask you about this. You get fired up when we talk about what the world has just witnessed here. And why do you say that is so personal for you? Is there, by the grace of God, go I?
Yes, yes, yes. That is something that I do live with and have reared my kids. I have a son, George Floyd. My son, actually, same complexion, shorter, but he's my son. And I gave birth to one son, but I have I can go down the list as an educator, as an administrator. I can go down the list of sons that I have reared, that I have impacted the life. So this is personal.
So when you see an Eric Gardner or Trayvon Martin, when you see a George Floyd, you think about the young lives that you've touched?
I think about my son first. You know, my son being a football player whose stature is somewhat thick. My son
intimidating to some police
could
officers,
be very intimidating just by getting pulled over and not knowing what to do, but simply reaching for his license or something. I think about my son, and no mother should have to think about their son out there the way, as a black woman, we think about our sons daily, and they could be the next George Floyd. They could be the next Ahmaud Arbery. They could be the next Tamir Rice. They could be the next Trayvon Martin. They could be the next Henry Green or Tyree King. Yeah. They could be the next individual that we are out there protesting in this moment.
Let me ask you about the protest, Neil. Let me start with you and asking about Black Lives Matter. How powerful is this movement? And have you noticed, while she just listed all the males that we've known killed while in police custody, what about the Breonna Taylors? What about the Rekia Boyd? What about the Sandra Bland's? You know some of the names, but not all women, all young ladies. Are the women missing from this movement?
Well, first, the Black Lives Matter movement is more than just an organization or a mantra. You see countries around the world coming together to protest injustices in their community. And if you think about in history with the women's suffrage movement and the civil rights movement in the 1960s, it started with protests, and that led to transformational change.
But these protests are much different. What we're seeing out here with Black Lives Matter, it was, I mean, and they have been very peaceful protests, but they're demanding change, and we're all talking about how we feel it. We already feel it. And Karen, you were talking about that.
I can tell you why we feel it. It's because we all witnessed it. We're stuck in the house. This one is different. With the knee on the neck for 8 minutes and 46 seconds with a grown man crying out to his mother, for his mother. This movement is different, and you have, number one, thank God for the millennials, because this one, we're not going backwards, we're not going to rest, we're not going to get comfortable. This one here, there has to be a change. This is a movement that when Black Lives Matter, which I think started in 2013, and some could look at Black Lives Matter and think that it's a racist group, that no. We're simply saying that in order for all lives to matter, Black lives must be included.
Does that bother you, ladies, when you hear, well, I mean, because we have congressmen. The president can't even say it, that Black lives matter. Does it bother you to hear that? Well, all lives matter.
Well, it's a human rights issue. And in order for all lives matter, Black lives must matter. And throughout history, there's been so many examples where there have been injustices, inequities. And so people are just really frustrated. And I think, to Karen's point, we're now seeing it televised. We have social media.
Right.
Social media is helping to mobilize many of these movements.
And in this Black Lives Matter, everybody is included in this. We were talking about this as well. Thank you so much, ladies, that trans are included on the Black Lives Matter movement. Queers are included in this, as well as gays. Everybody is a part of this. We've been having that uncomfortable conversation so that we can all get comfortable. I'm going to toss it back to you guys in the studio, and we'll be back a little bit later on.
I'll tell you what, those are some sharp sisters out there tonight.
Right.
All right. Darlene, thanks. Well, you've noticed we focused our conversation, and rightfully so, on the often muffled voices of the Black community in Central Ohio.
But how are white people reacting to what's been happening in the last several weeks? Has it changed the way they feel or speak about racism? NBC4's Brad Johansson set out to find just that.
Unrest, descriptive yet with varying definitions. Unrest creates discomfort. Discomfort creates triggers. And for many white people, one trigger is the word racism. Danny, how would you define the word racism?
It's a choice word.
A choice word?
A choice word.
Meaning?
You can choose to be racist or not to be racist.
And what do you choose?
Not to be racist.
Society as a whole, like viewing one race in a different light than another, just overall, I guess.
Would you consider yourself a racist?
No, I think I'm not actively I'm not actively anti-racist, but I don't think I'm not, I have work to do.
I wouldn't say that I never thought of myself as a racist, because I think everybody is. I don't think we think about it. I think to say, oh, I'm not racist is baloney. Because I think it's impossible to not be racist in this society.
Has the death of George Floyd, this national unrest, in some way awakened white people to another trigger word? Yes, says OSU history professor Hassan Jeffries. That word is privilege.
It's called white privilege, not white guarantee. You're not guaranteed to be rich and wealthy if you're white, but you are guaranteed not to have to deal with the same kinds of obstacles that we have put in place of black folk as a society because of their skin color.
Still, there are those who believe firmly that white privilege doesn't exist. Danny told me he's racist against the police department because he's had a knee on his neck just like George Floyd. This is just a hype game.
It's just a hype game to all of this.
So you think those of color have the same opportunities of those who are Caucasian?
I think mostly in these days, if a man works for something, he's just as equal to get a position as the next man.
Same park, different conversation with a recent group of OSU master's grads in education.
But I become complacent really easily with how I can just take a walk in the park around 8 p.m. and not have to worry about anyone taking a look at me, wondering if I'm doing something suspicious. So these protests, they are kind of a wake-up call.
We as white people, our privilege is we don't have to worry about it.
but that's part of the problem. So because we don't have to worry about it, it's really easy to just like not do anything.
Different park, different generation, finding themselves in the classroom again.
Maybe as a white woman, I did get something that went to me because of that, but I never knew that. I thought, oh, it's because I deserved it, but...
And just now you're awakening to that.
I think so, and it's really chilling.
History has impacted people that are living today, and I wanted to think of it as something in the past that was getting better all the time, and it's
not.
It's not.
We are absolutely all racist in the sense that we are products of a racist society that projects those beliefs. We just have to do the work to say no.
Keep your head on the swivel. Be aware of some stuff. Stay protected. Stay positive. Get around good people, family and friends, and just watch your back. Enjoy the day.
Racism has affected me because of the constant profiling that occurs when you go into a store or you're driving down the street or you're going someplace. You don't feel like you're safe.
Non-racism is invisible. Racism is in your face. To let people know that you see them as people, say hello, nod your head, make eye contact. Let them know that you see them. I hope things change.
We see them, we hear them, and we are going to continue the conversation. I thank you, and I thank my ladies for joining us today, but I'm going to end tonight here at the King Arts Complex here in Bronzeville by asking them one question. Where do we go from here? Niall, where do we go from here?
Stay engaged, take action, vote.
Charity?
We want to break down systemic racism. We must continue to have uncomfortable conversations, and I must say, fill out the 2020 census and vote. You must vote.
Be counted. That's part of the process, isn't it? Right. Okay, and Tracy?
We have to disturb the money. Change happens when there's an economic impact. We have to have economic empowerment in our communities.
And Karen?
We have to ensure that we are voting in both the primary and the general elections. And I'm going to say exactly what Charity said, 2020census.gov. And I'm going to say 844-330-2020. We must fill out the census in order to be counted. If I can say if you got a ticket for a concert, if you don't fill out that ticket for that concert, you don't have a ticket to get in.
And you're asking for lawmakers right here in Ohio to do something now.
Absolutely. We must get with Congress. We must get with our lawmakers. We must get, when we go and vote for that in those primaries, to get for those who will represent us, we must make sure that we have the right people speaking for us in our communities.
So, Charity, are you sick of that argument? My vote doesn't count. They don't want to hear from me?
There have been too many lynchings, whether they are in the past, and there are modern-day lynchings happening right now. And because they gave their life, I will vote. I can't hear the argument that my vote does not matter, because even if one person died for me to vote, I must vote.
All right, thank you so much, ladies. I appreciate it. I started with a quote. I'm going to end with a quote. Some people want it to happen. Some people wish it would happen. Others make it happen. Michael Jordan said that, and he was the greatest. Back to you guys.
Love it. Thank you very much, Darlene. Those women are amazing.
Incredible.
And these two, Austin and Kai from Bexley, are amazing as well. Recent Bexley grads. I want to bring them back in. And Austin and Kai, we'll get you both here quickly. What do you want to see change? What do you hope your Bexley anti-racism project, what progress do you want to see made?
So we know that our 21-day anti-racism challenge has nearly over, in fact, 500,000 engagements. So we know people are armed with the education. We want them to take that education, educate others, take the burden off of Black people. Right? Now that we have acknowledged there's an issue, you're morally obligated to act in response to the acknowledgement of the issue.
And in addition to that, we would like people to stop being complicit, which means calling out racism when you hear it, feel it, see it, no matter whether it's online, a family member, whatever it is. But all of that in an effort to dismantle the racism that has ravaged our country since its founding.
All right, I'll tell you what. These folks, watch for them.
That's the future of our country right there, the future of our community. Austin and Kai, thank you so much. BexleyARP.org is their website, and you should definitely check it out. We hope you And those close to you will keep this conversation going. Yeah. It is ongoing. It does not stop right here. If you need a starting point, we have put together some resources to help you.
I tell you what was so great tonight. We had so many voices,
so many viewpoints
involved in this. That's right. Everybody has a place, a job to do in this conversation. You can visit NBC4i.com/theconversation. So once you are there, look for the headline, The Conversation Resources. You will find a network of Central Ohio organizations that are working toward racial equality, even how to contact elected officials. It's just so great, and I'm so excited, so proud to join this station because a lot of people just don't do this.
Correct. You know, because it's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
You know, it's hard to throw this in people's faces, but you know what? It's been thrown in our face for all our lives.
I'm telling you. And if you feel uncomfortable, have that conversation.
That's right.
Stay in there. It can be hard to do, but we hope that we have been a model to just get the conversation started, to push it a little further, and we're going to continue to do that.
Absolutely. There's so many perspectives and so many viewpoints that need to be told. Hopefully we did that for you today. The last thing we'd like to leave you with is an ask to help us continue the conversation.
Friends, we need you to send your thoughts, questions to theconversation@WCMH.com. Thanks for joining us tonight, everybody. On behalf of all of us here at NBC4, have a great night.
Are you ready to challenge a system that only works for a few? Are you ready to truly listen and comprehend your neighbor's point of view? But please think long and hard before you answer that question, because this moment isn't slowing down, nor will it be based on your directions. Rather, it's grounded by the lives of those who should have been in your history books. It's being elevated by the voices of those who will no longer have their history overlooked. And as we know, history is doomed to repeat itself unless we tell the truth. Our history is once again right in front of us, hanging from a noose. This isn't new. Strange fruit has been growing for over 450 years, fertilized by a system that was never designed to include those it feared. A system that would only deserve to be called great if all lives really mattered. Then we could all defeat hate. Because we too hold it to be self-evident that all men are created equal. The Black Amendment to that statement will only help to improve this country's sequel. Because one day we will look to replace those statues all across the nation with those who were purposely left out of the original Independence Declaration. As you listen to the stories of the people who give this country its foundation, will you be ready to stand as a non-pandering ally as we continue the conversation?